The anatomy of the eye. The eye is the organ of sight and is situated in the orbital cavity. Okay, and the orbital cavity is formed with the contributions from the bones of the face and the bones of the skull. This orbital cavity houses the eyes. So if you're looking at a human being, that place the eye is located is called the orbital cavity. The orbital cavity does protect the eye and also provides attachment for muscles of the eye. So that is why if someone should have a blow at the face, sometimes rarely the eye is being affected, except for penetrating injuries. Okay. So embryologically, that is considering how the eye developed in utero, the eye developed from optic vesicle of the ectoderm and mesoderm. Okay. Then the shape of the eye. The eyeball is a cystic structure that is kept distended by the pressure inside it. Okay, so the pressure is being generated by the fluids aqueous humor and vitreous humor. Anatomically, the eyes has the following measurements or dimensions. Anterior-posterior diameter, that is measuring from the back of the eye to the front of the eye, measures around 24 millimeter. Horizontal diameter, 23.5 millimeter. Vertical diameter, 23 millimeter, that is up to down of the eye, like from the roof to the floor of the eye. Circumferential, in form of circumference, measures around 75 millimeter. The volume of the eye is around 6.5 mil, and the weight of the eye is around 7 grams. Structurally, the human eye is separated from each other, but they work together. When they fail to work together, then there is problem known as strabismus or squint. The coats / layers of the eyes. So either I call it coats or the layers of the eye. We have 3 coats of the eye. The number 1 is the outer fibrous coat. The outer fibrous coat is made up of the sclera and the cornea. The next is the middle vascular coat, or you also call it the uveal tissue. It is made up of the iris, ciliary body, and choroid. Then finally, the inner nervous coat, or you call it the retina, or the light sensitive sensing structure of the eye. Now let's talk more on the outer fibrous coat / layers. That is the sclera and the cornea. If you look at your eye now, you see the white part, which anyone can see, and the black one at the center. This is known as the sclera corneal tissue. It is a fibrous coat. It is a dense, strong wall which protects everything inside the eye. The cornea made up of 1/6 of this fibrous coat. That is, the cornea constitutes around 1/6 of this fibrous coat, and it is transparent. So the black background you are seeing is not actually from the cornea. In some persons, it is bluish. So the color is from the iris. When we get there, you will understand. But the cornea is transparent. What is the function of this cornea? The cornea is responsible for the major bending of light rays. Okay, so when there is any issue in the cornea, it becomes translucent or can no longer bend the light rays, then there will be problem in this sight. Then the sclera is thick, but becomes less thick at the back or towards the back of the eye, where the optic disc or optic nerve pierces it, and this point is called the lamina cribosa. Also, the sclera provides attachment for muscles of the eye, and the junction between the sclera and the cornea is known as the limbus. The next layer, the middle vascular coat or the uveal tissue, is made up of the iris, ciliary body, and choroid. The majority of this tissue is being contributed by the choroid, while iris and ciliary body constitute about 1/5 of the middle or vascular or nutritive tissue of the eye. Now the iris. The iris is the structure behind the cornea. It is the iris that brings or that gives the background that is being seen through the transparent cornea. Some people, it can be blue, it can be pink, it can be black. At the center of the iris is found the pupil. So that is where the pupil is located. What is the function of the iris? The major function of the iris is to help in accommodation. Okay? It helps in accommodation, that determines the amount of light that will enter the eye to reach the retina. Also, it contributes in the formation of the aqueous humor somehow, but not clearly. But the major function of the iris is accommodation. However, the major function or the major structure that produces the aqueous humor is the ciliary body. So that is the function of the ciliary body, formation of aqueous humor. Okay, while the iris mostly is the major boss or organ in the accommodation. Then finally, the choroid lies between the sclera and the retina. It is the posterior most part of the vascular coat of the eyeball. Okay, it extends from the optic disc to the ora serrata. It is the largest or longest of the uvea tracts, and it is highly vascularized. Its inner surface is smooth, brown, and lies in contact with the retina, while the outer surface is rough and lies in contact with sclera. The choroid provides nourishment to the outer layer of the retina. It is firmly attached to the optic disc and loosely attached at the ora serrata. Okay. The next coat, the retina. The retina is the innermost coat of the eye. It is a thin, delicate, and transparent membrane. It is the most highly developed tissue of the eye. It contains the visual sensing structures, the rods and cone cells. The rod cells are more sensitive than the cone. The rod cells are stimulated by low intensity or dim lights, also known as scotopic vision. That is the type of vision you have in a dim light or in a dark end room. Why the cone cells are sensitive to bright light and color, also known as photopic vision. The rods are more numerous towards the peripheral part of the retina. The rhodopsin is a photosensitive pigment, okay, that is responsible for bright color vision. Now let's talk about segments of the eye. The eye is divided into two segments, anterior and posterior segments. The anterior segment, that is the most front, that the one that is most front, while the one that is most backward is the posterior segment. The anterior segment includes the following: crystalline lens, and the major function of the lens is to bend light rays or refract light rays. Okay. Then other structures at the anterior segment includes iris, cornea, okay, and the aqueous humor. So now when you come to the eye, anything that is in front of the lens is known as the anterior chamber, while anything that is at back, from back of the lens, is posterior chamber or posterior segment. The content of the posterior segment includes vitreous humor, retina, choroid, and optic disc. Accessory structures of the eyes. Those structures are not directly related to vision, so that's what they call accessory structures, but they can help the eyes. The eyebrow, it doesn't have anything to do with seeing, but the eyebrow prevents dirt from entering the eye. Like maybe someone is bathing or is under the rain, the eyebrow will always absorb any fluid that would have drained straight to the eye. And the eyebrow is for beautification as well. That's why women will remove it and use eye pencil over it. Eyelids and eyelashes, they prevent debris and some injurious substances from the eye. Sometimes someone would like to pour acid, and when they pour acid, the eyelid will be affected mostly because it tries to close and protect the eye. The lacrimal apparatus. The lacrimal apparatus is responsible for lubrication. The tears. The tears contain mucin, contains antibacterial agents, so it prevents the eye from drying. It also provides antibacterial activity to the eye. Then finally, extraocular muscles of the eye. The extraocular muscles are responsible for movement of the eye towards the left, inferior oblique muscle, okay. It's also responsible for movement of the eye to the left. It's also responsible for movement of the eye to the right. And it's also responsible for movement of the eye downwards. The muscles of the eye are also known as the external muscles.